Let's fucking go!
Woohoo!
Fucking go! Let's go!
Allin!
Let's go! Let's go! This shit means something. This means something to me. You know, look at this. I can be proud of this thing. This is like $1,000. I've never been more proud to own this beautiful piece of hardware. Mwah! God, I love wrestling so much. How's everybody doing tonight?
There we go. That was, I think, even more energy than Danielson was capable of having when he won the title.
That was so good. Fuck. The whole, was it the whole show? I feel like I'm still on a high. I'm still on a high from the end of the show that I'm like, whoa, the whole thing was incredible.
Honestly,
like, it's my favorite All In so far. This main event makes last year's main event pale in comparison. This is what AEW needs to be delivering. This kind of energy that I came out of, that I felt coming off this show, man. And it wasn't just the fact that Bryan Danielson is my favorite fucking pro wrestler. It was just crafted so well. Like, it was amazing. Nanti, what up?
Hey,
how you doing, brother? Thank you for joining us tonight. Yeah, man.
dude.
Just if you don't, I'll give you a second to talk.
Okay.
Nick, my bad. Just for historical value, if you're not sure what we're talking about, AEW All In main event: Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson, title versus career. Bryan Danielson is the AEW World Champion. Seventh time he's the world champion in his career. First time the AEW World Champion. Nick, my brother. Before I go on a emotional journey with my friends, the viewers here, what'd you think?
Wow, man, like, this was definitely the main event. Like, literally, it was all in. Danielson going all in, Swerve going all in, putting everything that they had on the line, both, in storyline, but also just basically in terms of real life, with a career and a championship title, because that's the title that means you are the face that runs the place. You are the one that they are building the company around. And I really appreciated when Swerve entered the match, how he basically was showing himself as King Swerve the Eighth. Like, he's the 8th AEW champion. And now we have number 9, Bryan freaking Danielson. And it's quite the list of people compared to, who's on the roster. And it's a real who's who. You got MJF, Moxley, Omega, Hangman, Jericho, Joe, Punk, Swerve, of course, and Danielson joining that group. What an amazing class. Just super caliber talents all around. But especially this main event had everything that it needed. And man, I words can't do it justice. This was a crazy show, and man, John, you gotta tell me everything that you are feeling, because I know you love this.
Like I said, I didn't excuse me, I didn't want to get too emotional about the quote unquote retirement factor of this match before the match, because I think part of me, I was wondering, I was like, man, I'm like, maybe do I even believe the retirement? Why am I not emotionally connecting with the retirement part of this story? Like, I was in my mind thinking, it could happen. I wonder what that would feel like on the other side. But it was like, you know what? When he first retired, he got that snatched away, and we got that snatched away. And maybe it's that feeling that I was anticipating, and it was never going to come, because I'm at peace with everything that he's done since he returned in pro wrestling.
Yeah.
If he had lost tonight, that would not have made this any less of a match. It would still have been a good decision. Like, I wouldn't have been mad at that at all. But when he won, First of all, the way they booked the finish here, they had Hangman come out, and it's kind of what we all predicted would happen, but it didn't go exactly that way. Like, he got involved, and it did distract Swerve, but he kicked out because he is Swerve Strickland, the AEW World Champion. He's not just some dude.
He probably saw that coming in a different way.
It was that moment already sucked me in. I was like, yes, let's go. And then he kicked out. And I'm like, holy shit. So making it so that Swerve still was able to fight back and lost basically clean. That was about as clean a loss as you can get. And Bryan tapped out. Submitted.
For the first time in his AEW career.
Oh, knowing that Bryan Danielson is primarily a submission wrestler, and that he had to create the impact finisher because Vince is weird about submission finishes when he beat John Cena for the WWE Championship the first time. Obviously, he got to tap out Batista later on, and that was a more cathartic moment. But if bringing it full circle from his first world title to his last world title, and seeing the difference of the finishes and how he was able to do that, fuck, bro.
Man, it reminded me of like WrestleMania 20 when Stevie Richards made Triple H tap out. Like, no one taps Triple H out. What was that? You know? So that was the same thing. I was like, wow, Swerve tap. That's crazy.
It was one of those moments where I don't remember how the show went after the tap out. Like, I was screaming. I was basically jumping for joy. I had an orgasmic fucking reaction, essentially. Like, it was.
That just sank in. I'm like, oh wait
a minute. Yeah, no, I mean, legitimately, not I was like in another world. Like, oh my god, the GOAT, my favorite wrestler, the guy I think is the best, is the world champion. I felt like I was 12 years old. I was watching with my son. I jump up and give my son a hug. He's like, this is incredible. I bought tickets to Wrestle Dream immediately. The second the bell rang, I was like, hold on. Like, let me get my seat now. And I did. I'm excited to see Bryan as world champion. I mean, just look at the image. Just look at this. Look at
that. That's a fighter right there.
Oh god, it's not just that. It's like, it feels so good. It's cathartic. I don't have another word for it. It was fucking incredible.
And that's what I love too, whenever there's a new champion, is the guy who has dethroned the previous king. He just took everything that Swerve had and then some. And
can we talk about Swerve?
Yeah, like, he kept kicking out of everything, but Swerve wouldn't stop. And we even had Danielson awaken Swerve's sadistic side. And when that comes out, hit the deck.
Beyond that, like, just as a whole, Swerve Strickland's reign, people talked about how AEW was going to fumble or whatever. And the entire time, he's felt like a world champion, the top guy. Even when he wasn't in the main event at Double or Nothing, it felt like he's still the top fucking guy.
Yeah.
It never felt like he was in the back of the show. And there were so many fucking bad faith grifters that the first week. Why didn't they let him cut a promo when he opened Dynamite? They're ruining the champion. Like, bro! The whole run, Swerve Strickland's run as champion established him. Like, he is here to stay. He re-signed a contract extension or however they renegotiate and add new money because he's worth so much money, because he presented himself in a way that it felt like an accomplishment when Bryan Danielson pinned him. Right. Even though Bryan Danielson is Bryan fucking Danielson, you know?
Yeah.
Swerve
Swerve absolutely felt worthy. And, he felt like someone that, this is a guy that is a main event world champion in any company. And especially here in AEW, look at the facts that Swerve makes all these big appearances. He has so many connections into just the outside media realm. Look at all of his music connections. They were even right there, on the show. Just the fact that Swerve can connect outside the wrestling world, but also within the bubble. It's just a testament to how great of a star he is. And the fact that Danielson beat him, it never once felt like, oh, here's this top guy that's all of a sudden taking the young guy's title. No, this felt like a battle of like two legendary behemoths,
I'm kind of like, I want to give a critical thought or whatever, but I'm like so in the moment of this world title, and I gave it time. If you notice, I started a little late because I was like, man, I need time to process like what I saw. And I mean, I'm sure people are like, oh, you're such a mark. I'm like, that's actually what we are. We're marks. We watch this. We love this. And if you don't get moments like that, when you're watching pro wrestling, what are you doing here? Like, if you're not looking for that fucking elation that comes with a moment, like these two right here, this is fucking. It's literally I like I was saying, I don't remember the last time I felt this. It might have been that match, like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But shit. Nick, did you have any critical thoughts on maybe where we're headed here, how we're moving forward, what's going on in the title scene? Christian is a contender for Bryan Danielson's number one world title.
I just can't wait to talk about that Casino match. But, we got Danielson as champion, Swerve probably wanting to get that rematch up against Bryan. You got Darby with a title shot in his back pocket. Christian now has a title shot. There's so many different avenues that this can go. Plus, of course, the wild card and the Hangman just being absolutely crazy. So, yeah, there's a lot of different ways that this can go. And I honestly, right now, like you said, I might be too much in the moment. I can't even think about where we're headed apart from just Washington.
If headed into this, like I had been a little critical on the story because I thought like they didn't get me fired up until the last moment, but they really sucked me into thinking that Bryan could possibly retire here. And then that's a damn job well done. Job well done. I was so convinced just on a pro wrestling level. Like, I really wish that I could see the viewpoint of someone who didn't love Bryan as much as I did, because like, was it good for you like it was for me?
Yeah. Was it good for you too?
Was it good for you? Nanti says, do we get a Nigel versus Bryan?
I can only hope.
My thing though is like, if that was possible, then shouldn't we have maneuvered it so that it happened here? But anyway, if it's gonna happen, then fine. Nigel didn't wrestle long enough in the Casino Gauntlet for me to feel like that's possible. But
years of ring rust.
Shit, he was moving. He had a good showcase for everything that he did do. Did he bump?
I think so.
I never
really thought about that. Now I want to say he did, but I'm like, wait a minute. I gotta go. There's so many people in that match; it's hard to remember.
Because I would say he didn't. There's no way he was in there for more than 5-6 minutes total, just match wise. I mean, we got incredible moments, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Max says he cried hard like a bitch. I said, understandable. Listen, I was almost there. I was more excited. Like, I felt like the power of a fucking Super Saiyan surging through me. Like, yes! Like, this is it. This is why I watch this shit. I
Super Saiyan 3 music blasting.
Wrestling. Like, I pulled my headphone wire out. I can't hear you or myself anymore. I'm so hyped. That's the feeling I got. That's the feeling I got from this. I was so hyped. Like, this is why I love this fucking sport, this art form, this form of entertainment. It makes me feel in front of my child without second thought. Like, I'm screaming. I am like this is what fathers and sons feel at like the Super Bowl and shit when their favorite team wins the Super Bowl. This was it for me with my kid here at home watching that. Like, oh, I can feel it now. Like, damn, I feel the power surging through me. I was screaming so hard, my wife called me. She was like, "Oh, I'm glad that you got something." And I was like, "What? Oh, you fucking." She's trying to say I had an orgasm downstairs. I was like, what the fuck? I don't care. This was excellent.
This was a bit better. This is Danielson.
You always say it. You always talk about like sometimes AEW weekly is shaky, but the pay-per-views are like fire. But
yeah,
this is one of those. This is one of those. This is for the books.
Yeah, man, I am just again like I'm just trying to think of the words to say because it was so crazy, you know, like the months leading up to this, and like you had to think that Danielson was legitimately hurt. I mean, he is, for lack of a better term.
He is. There's a legitimate medical restriction placed on Bryan Danielson right now.
And it was so much to the point that he couldn't be in Blood and Guts, where it made a lot of sense for him to be in there, as well as, you know, he was pretty much protected following the Owen Hart tournament, really only wrestling, I think, a match with Jeff Jarrett, and that was it. And who's a very safe, protective worker.
And they didn't even wrestle. They crowd brawled. This is Bryan's first.
Got slammed on real rubbery garbage can.
Yeah, this is Bryan's first real match since Hangman in the Owen Cup.
Yeah.
And of course, no ring rust. And of course, because why would there be? He's Bryan Danielson, right? He left for 6 years and there was no ring rust. Why would there be? Why would there be now?
He is naturally.
Listen, the match itself, great wrestling. The particularly the moments where Swerve was beating on Bryan in front of his family, that came back around narratively when Bryan couldn't take that anymore, and Swerve is kicking him and kicking him and kicking him, and Bryan is staring at his family, and the kicks no longer take any fucking effect. That is the greatest Hulk up spot in the history of professional wrestling. And we'll never see another Hulk up spot as good as that one. Never as believable, as realistic. I am a father of 3 children. I felt that. Like, I can simply imagine shutting down your nerves because you have to do it for the children that are right in front of you crying. It was incredible. I'm feeling it again. I'm feeling hyped again. Like, this is pro wrestling.
Yeah. Dude, I'm when you're saying that, I'm thinking like it was a combination of a Hulk up and like a reverse of the, you know, Shawn Michaels Ric Flair retirement match spot. You know, it was like some like amalgamation of like those two things where it's just the power is making him say "I love you" to his family, and then it's like giving him his. Yeah. That wasn't even his second one. That was like his third or fourth surge of adrenaline in this match. And
I love you so much. I was like, bro, yes. Ruben says, I don't understand why AEW has to have blood in every pay-per-view. Let me ask you a question, Ruben. Have you been in like a fight? And I don't mean that in a bad way. And I'm not laughing or anything. I mean, like, have you ever been in a fight or have you ever seen people fight? Do they generally come out unscathed, like no blood, no bumps, no bruises? I'm not sure what it is. Like, I know that there was about 28 from 2008 to 2019 there were no mainstream television shows that showed blood, and I understand that 10 to 11 years without that can change the way people see pro wrestling, but I'm not, you know, I'm here for this. I'm here for this grit. I'm here for this, and they understand that their audience is here for this. And when this pay-per-view sells another 110, 115,000 buys, that will prove that they're fine to keep doing this.
Plus, I don't think it needs to, you know, be a thing in every match per se, but in this one in particular, to me, it makes sense, you know, because again, you have two guys basically fighting to the death because they both went all in, literally. And again, that's the fact that Danielson is fighting for his career that he has worked decades on building up. He's got his family right there. You know, he's basically fighting for them. So it totally made sense to me for this to be an absolute, utter brawl.
100%.
A bloodbath.
And particularly, some wrestlers in particular just like to have blood in their matches. I understand that you want it to be special. I don't think that it... I'm not sure that it ever was as special as you guys kind of try to make it seem like it was. Like, I don't think it ever was. I think there when blood was a common thing, it was a common thing. I mean, Ric Flair is legendary. Legendary for bleeding. That was his thing. The joke was that his skin is made of paper. You know what I'm saying?
Which you eventually too, you could get to the point where you've got the Moxley level of just thin skin, where even just like a nice punch right on the button is gonna really make you burst and bleed everywhere.
Yeah. Ruben says he understands this Swerve and Bryan match, but some of the others no. Again, I default to if you're looking at it through a viewpoint that blood has to be a special thing, then I understand why you feel like they're using it too much. Personally, I think that because they're trying to do a different style of wrestling and show that they can do things that the other company can't do, they should showcase that they can do different things as much as they can, because that makes you different from the other company. But that's just my thought on it. That's not like, I don't think that's objectively right or anything like that. That's just kind of where I'm coming from.
Yeah, me personally, like, like you mentioned with like Ric Flair, I grew up with all of those amazing matches. Mac, I hope you're looking at the Sting shirt, by the way. But I'm thinking like WCW, how many matches in there had blood within the main events, and even if the Turner Network wanted to make sure that we covered that up, and in any VHS releases, it's all grayed out. It was something that's always prevalent. And then you look back at some of the most iconic boxing matches and MMA fights in history, or even just any MMA or boxing show. I will always see blood in there in different fights, even fights lower on the card. So it just makes sense. It never really bothered me personally.
I'm looking at a tweet from KXNGAO. It says Swerve Strickland had a top 2 AEW title reign and ended it with having the match of the year. One of the greatest wrestlers to ever walk this earth. What a rise! What a run! 2024 Wrestler of the Year. Where do we rank this world title reign amongst AEW's now 9 world title reigns? Oh
man, I mean, I know a lot of people, myself included, really thought it was going to be just the transitional run to get it over to Ospreay, but I personally am really thrilled with how this whole run turned out. And I think overall, Swerve had so many amazing opponents that when you look back at everyone that he has faced to maintain that title, and even the match where he loses it, he really took on a who's who of not just AEW, but a who's who of professional wrestlers.
I am trying to kind of plot the future for Swerve from here, because you figure he has the match with Hangman possibly in 2 weeks at All Out, and then Washington, the Tacoma Dome. This is also Swerve's home state. What does that look like for Swerve? What kind of match does Swerve have? Is he back in the title scene by October? Are we running a Swerve versus Bryan rematch for Bryan's final match?
Swerve Bryan Darby?
That's kind of what we were talking about, right?
Yeah. Plus Swerve's a Tacoma guy.
It's 3 Washington guys.
Yep.
It's a triple threat, which AEW doesn't do very often. And it's a weird thing, right? Somebody's final full-time career match being a triple threat match. I just kind of see Bryan's weird ass being like, hell yeah. But I don't know. I don't know. We play with that idea, but realistically, I don't think I see it. I don't think I see AEW actually doing that triple threat Washington boys match. I wonder what Bryan Danielson's final match looks like in Washington, for that matter. Like, are we hoping that we can get Kenny Omega back in time? Is that what they're hoping for? It's been a long time. I don't know how long diverticulitis takes to heal from, particularly, colon surgery, essentially.
Especially one that apparently was really bad and nearly fatal.
Yeah, Donnie Patty says it was really refreshing to watch a pay-per-view at 1 p.m. and it didn't feel like a long show. It didn't. It didn't feel long at all. Although for me, I had to wake up at 8 in the morning. Thank you very much. Donnie says, I would like to see Bryan give his spot and endorsement to Pac joining the BCC officially full-time. Pac was out there for the finale.
I wasn't expecting him to join them. Like, Claudio and Yuta made sense, but then all of a sudden in the back, I'm like, wait, there's Pac. What?
Moxley is like home. Chilling, nothing to do. I understand.
Yeah,
I get that. He understands that shit. But overall, just a close off this because we'll talk about it more obviously throughout the week. We'll talk about it online on our socials. We'll talk about it on the shows, Dirt Sheet Radio, Dynamite recap, and then the Dirt Sheet Radio show proper.
Dirt Sheet Radio, we're always on.
I'll just end this. I'll just end talking about the main event by saying, this was, like Max said earlier, this is my Super Bowl, my World Series. This was my equivalent. However, I know a lot of people don't equate it. I don't watch sports, so like this fucking moment right here, that was everything to me. If this is my match of the year, it'll be because it made me feel like a child. It made me feel again, and I loved it.
Which in this world of professional wrestling where unanimously everyone just says how, things like the dirt sheets or social media has ruined it. It was nice to be able to, like you said, John, just be able to relive what it was like to be that little kid again and to just be really excited at the end of a match and the end of a great wrestling pay-per-view.
100%. So I guess we'll flip over to the beginning of the show. We go through the pre-show really fast. We had
a pre-show where it's like everyone here got cut from the gauntlet.
It's an understandable thing, if you want to get people a paycheck, show them some kind of loyalty. It makes you kind of sad that you didn't get to be on the main card, but you get the check. And then that wasn't really the case for all of them. Some people is for their own protection. You got a match like Willow and Chris. You wanted to keep them far away from the main events so that they don't get overshadowed because they have their own big pay-per-view matches coming in 2 weeks. And I'm sure that's going to be the case for a couple of people. But maybe, considering how some of those women's matches went, or one of those women's matches went later on, we should have done Britt. We should have done Willow versus Chris at Wembley and the other one in Chicago. Sorry, Nick.
Don't take it away from me. No.
Oh, somebody from PW Torch, I think, asked Mercedes about her divorce at the school.
Oh, that's right.
What? Like, what? No way. No fucking way. Oh, ain't no way. Let me see that. You know, your name on that.
I definitely helped put women's wrestling on the map, top to bottom, in every single company that I stepped in. Ever since I've joined AEW, the women's division has just been flourishing to a whole
I don't think this is
new
high. I think she's just cutting it. Somebody's bringing it up right now. Some doofus ex Mercedes about her divorce. I really want to see what the fuck they're talking about. Oh, this guy's weird. What are you talking about? What the fuck?
Some of these fake fans who were never fans of wrestling outside of the Fed to begin with.
We'll figure it out. But
I wanted to give a shout out. Mama Larocco texted me about Mercedes talking about something really good, which was those corgis that were a part of her entrance.
3 corgis. Hey, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it in a bit. But getting back to the show, running through that pre-show really fast. Did you have a card? Where the fuck is the card?
I got it. We opened up right there with a 16-man tag match. I feel like they said it was a 14-man at first, but then all of a sudden it became 16.
We found 2 more people.
I think even before that, I think they started it with 12 at the very beginning of the pre-show. Then they became 14, and then they had 16. But yeah, we have it actually was a really fun match. I enjoyed it. It was Dynamite Kid, Tommy Billington, of course, had to have him there. Same with Kip Sabian, and then Rocky Romero, Kyle Fletcher, who looked absolutely shredded tonight, Leo Rush, Action Andretti, and Darius Martin and Dante Martin taking on Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Anthony Agogo, Ari Daivari, Brother Zay, Brother Quen, and Dark Order's John Silver and Alex Reynolds.
Kind of sad for Anthony Agogo that it never really worked out. His Wembley moment happens on a pre-show like this, but it is what it is.
That's rough. Don't be surprised when you see Ricochet doing these spots on a pay-per-view pre-show in 3 months.
Yeah, I don't think anybody who's been signed of Ricochet's caliber is in this match or anywhere near. But
like you could you could argue like Fletcher or Tommy Billington, but aside from that,
I wouldn't even argue for them because they're both very young and they've been presented as it. They've wrestled like top guys, but they lost. because they're young, kind of like Dante.
I feel bad for Darius. It feels like the attention always goes right to Dante, which I mean, it makes sense because Darius was hurt for so long. But
I mean, looking at this lineup, can you honestly say that anybody here should have been on the main show?
Like, I'm just looking straight up and not not in particular.
Private Party is the one that I feel like should have been better off so that they can have a spot on the show by now, but they aren't. That's a damn shame.
Yeah, to me, the only ones I see that have that value was Fletcher, and I will always hold AEW in contempt of court for the way that they made such a big deal about signing Jay Lethal, but never gave him anything. It was nice seeing Dark Order again, though.
Always nice seeing Dark Order, especially because they did the reference to Brody with the papers.
Yeah.
Donnie Petty says lots of people saying last year's All In didn't feel like as big as someone who didn't watch last year's show outside the Punk Joe match. Did last year's show not feel like a big deal to you? No, last year's show, the card. I remember saying before going into the show, I was like, damn, this card should have been like a dream card for a big Wembley event like this. But it was still a great show. Like if you went back and watched it now, you would have a fun time. The obviously the MJF versus Adam Cole main event wasn't going to be as good as this. Ospreay versus Jericho was fine, but it wasn't what Ospreay and MJF had this year. But I certainly preferred this year's show a lot.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, last year's show, you had like the historic aspect of it being, the giant stadium show that isn't, a WWE production outside of the States. But I had a lot of fun with this match.
For sure. Oh, I picked up the wrong graphic. So many tag matches here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't really have anything else to say about this. I was cooking breakfast while this was going on.
Another multi-man tag match. This was Von Erichs, Marshall Ross, Sammy Guevara, Shibata, Dustin Rhodes, as well as Kevin Von Erich backing them up, taking on Undisputed Kingdom's Taven and Bennett, Cage of Agony, of course, being Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Toa Leona.
We can speed through these, but there's only one thing I really wanted to bring up about this.
Double Wolverine.
Double Wolverine. How did we get here? How did this happen? Why didn't Sammy ask the Swolverine guy if he was going to be wearing Wolverine gear at all?
Right, the guy who's consistently been the Swolverine and has worn this several times before.
The guy who constantly wears Wolverine gear.
If it's not Sting, he's wearing Wolverine gear.
Like, what are we doing, Sammy? Anyway, this is why people punch you.
Sammy Wild for this one.
This is why you're on the pre-show when Jungle Boy, Darby, and MJF are heavily featured on the pay-per-view.
I guarantee someone like even Machine might have like confronted him about it, and Sammy's like, "No, man, I just really like these colors."
I didn't know. I wanted to do Deadpool and Wolverine because that's what him and Dustin did. They did Deadpool and Wolverine, but
I just like the primary colors, man.
But like I said, that's something you really should have asked about. But anyway,
Dustin like looking so cool with his 2 titles. That matches Deadpool look.
It did look great. I also wanted to say that the Von Erichs, it was very cool to see them out here and get this moment in front of these 53,000 people at Wembley. They didn't do the stadium announcement, the attendance announcement thing. They should have. But honestly, they seem to get cut for time. They seem to be short for time, based on what was going on.
Overall, the show felt very well paced, I'd have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
Though we did kind of go back and forth. Hey, that's us.
It is us.
We did go through a lot, and there really wasn't a whole lot of time to really let things simmer, because I remember feeling that way where after the Gauntlet match, I'm like, oh gosh, that was crazy. Oh wait, it's time for Ospreay and MJF. Oh my goodness.
You hit me? Do you hit me?
I thought this was
keeps taking over.
It does keep taking over. Let's see what they got going on. Oh fuck, let me see this real fast.
No!
Hold the fuck on.
That was loud.
No! Look at the choke. Yeah,
EOB. You tell him screaming, man.
That's our boy Sid.
Yes.
From
Sid, what's up?
Yeah, from True Heel Heat, my boy. I'm sorry, I smoked too much weed. I didn't know he was in England. Very cool. And a great seat. But yeah, talking about that pre-show.
Yeah, I mean, you had the amazing spot where you have everyone taking the Von Erich claws after Kevin's like standing his ground against all 5 of the people on the heel side.
We also got to see an Iron Claw. We get to see an Iron Claw at Wembley.
Shibata got to bust out his claw that he learned from the Von Erichs.
There we go. I was looking for this picture the entire time. I just now found it. Anyway, now that we're done talking about this match and I found the graphic for it.
They're still showing the last ride.
But yeah, what else do we have following this?
Kevin reliving what it was like to be in wrestling in those stadium shows. That was really cool to see.
Very cool.
Apart from that, didn't really think much of this match. There were certain parts where it was really hyped, but then it just kind of like died down. And then I think Bishop and Toa weren't throwing guys high enough for Cage. They were just kind of like, and he's like, well.
They were giving the pre-show performance.
Pretty much. Dude, there's that one part too where Brian Cage suicide dives to the outside and it looked like nobody caught him.
I missed that. Again, I was making breakfast. Oh shit! I wish that video had come. I wish that video had come up. I would have found it fucking flopping. But yeah, What was next?
Actually, we skipped ahead. Sandwiched in between the different multi-man tag matches, we had another tag match. This was a mixed tag team. Willow Nightingale and Big Tom Tomohiro Ishii defeated Stat and Stokely.
I like how Tomohiro Ishii just randomly got taken to AEW and had a Wembley match. Just like, how did this happen? I don't know. It's cool as fuck though.
Yeah, it's like, hey, we got him on our roster. Let's pop him out there.
Stokely out in his Remember the Time Michael Jackson gear. Incredible. Just beautiful. Fucking so Stokely Hathaway.
But yeah, I think when it comes down to... Oh, John, would you like to discuss what is on the screen while I go and take a sip? Because I might throw
Aja Kong! Aja Kong and Willow Nightingale. Willow is heavily inspired by 90s All Japan women's wrestling. Like she said, she even doesn't want her finisher called the Dr. Bomb. It's not the Dr. Bomb. She got it from I'm gonna fuck this up because I forgot her name. But yes, Willow Nightingale getting to live out a dream at Wembley Stadium backstage.
But yeah, we saw Saraya and her family out there with taking over the post-show scrum, but they also tried taking over the pre-show, and guess what happened?
Oh yeah, Jamie Hayter, man. Jamie Hayter. That was so awesome. I know. I was like, damn, they could have opened the show with this segment exactly the way that they did it here. But Greg said, was she wearing this outfit last year? He just wants to believe she's wearing it for a year since the last time we saw her.
Straight on through.
But no, this is her return. And I imagine this is like her legit return, and not just them giving her a Wembley moment. Like I thought, because she came back and she started whipping ass. She beat up a bunch of those night school children. That's Riho. She's from Progress. Bunch of the night, not children, but like students. They're
annihilated,
whooping their ass.
Even the men's
great moment there. People were really mad that it was on the pre-show. What do you think, Nick? Is this a disservice?
I don't know if it was necessarily a disservice. I think that when it comes down to just what time that they did have for like the big level of matches, I think it was cool to give Jamie Hayter that moment at Wembley finally. So I'm really glad that they did that. I think it would have been a strong opener, I guess, now that I'm talking, but for me, it was hype, and I think it really drew a lot more hype into people being interested for the rest of the show. And I think in particular, it also gave people that sense of, so does that mean, is she going to be a part of, Britt Baker's match later? Oh my gosh, let's watch that.
I did think it was interesting that they were so separate from each other. But it makes sense that she went after Saraya and the people that injured her and took her out last year. It's just, again, I don't know. I agree with some of the criticism that it makes it feel like maybe they're not ready for Jamie now, so there's gonna do this Saraya thing lower on the card on like Rampage and shit, and that's what I'm hoping doesn't happen here. I kind of wish Jamie Hayter would have gotten right into the middle of something more important than the Saraya, Harley Cameron, all this type of shit. But she is back, and I'm happy to have her back. So.
Giving her something and giving Saraya that chance to be out there with the fam as well.
True. And now it's time to start this show.
Hey, yeah, because remember, pre-show ends with all the entrances for the London Ladders four-way match for the Trios Championships.
London Ladders. Is that a thing?
It is now.
But like, where does that come from?
London. To anyone in the chat out there, let us know.
It's Tony Khan again with the goddamn 2-letter thing. I forgot what the word is for that. God, there's a word for 2 words that start with the same letter. Anyway, it is
alliteration.
Possibly.
Christian Cage in a London Ladders match.
He disappeared halfway through
for the Trios tag team titles.
This is wild. They did a whole bunch of shit out there. Just the weirdest looking tables you ever seen.
Yeah, right. And those ladders were pretty short too.
They were very short. All the ladders were midget ladders.
Yeah, except for the one that was way too big.
They got even shorter ones so that they made the bigger ones look normal size, but it wasn't working when the wrestlers stand next to it and it's all like head height. How are people getting up there? They're this tall.
Oh my gosh. it just reminds me of like WrestleMania 23 when Booker T pulls out the step ladders like, tell me I did not just grab it.
It's Hornswoggle.
Yeah. And I love the fact too that when we do get the big ladder that Juice brings in, it's so big it almost knocks the titles off of what's holding them.
They opened the show fair with the right energy. We forgot who the fuck are the tag champions. That's right, Pac. Pac gets his Wembley moment with Blackpool Combat Club.
And gets to technically be a part of the main event.
So like we mentioned in the main event, do you think Pac is joining the Blackpool Combat Club here?
I don't know if he's going to necessarily be joining them, but I could see him being, kind of like a strong associate of theirs going forwards, kind of like how Sky Blue's not necessarily a part of the House of Black, but she's a default associate that's aligned with them.
That is weird though, what they do with Sky Blue.
Yeah.
But Pac gets his Wembley moment, Trios champion with Claudio and Yuta. Not knowing when Moxley comes back, I imagine that these will be the 3 going, or this will be the gang going forward for now. We'll see though. We will see. Did you have any thoughts on this ladder match?
I mean, overall, I think it was a fantastic match, and I'm always a sucker for just opening a show with a great ladder match. And look at the talents in there; everyone delivered one way or another. And I'm glad too that the Guns were able to really showcase what they can do, because I've always felt bad for them in the sense that Guns up. I always felt bad because everyone used to see them as they're just nepotism hires. They're only here because of Billy Gunn. But honestly, they've really been showcasing what they can do, and they've been proving themselves time and time again. And I think in this match, I think back to them, having the sleeper hold on, was it Claudio and Brody? And then they are going through the tables with them because they didn't think it through enough. And like, oh wait, no, we're choking out big guys. Here we go.
There was when they first got when they were first on AEW Dark, I did think that the same of them. But like I said, over the years they've improved, and I started rooting for them, and they really, really shown to be worth what they paid for them. But yeah, no, great shit here. Even though I wish we would have got a story reason for why Pac and Claudio are friends after they hated each other so much.
I think was it Tony Schiavone that was, I think, trying to say something along the lines of, "Oh, you know how in wrestling sometimes when you have the same goal that great wrestlers will team up to accomplish it." And like,
get the fuck out of here.
Tony's trying.
No. At least a promo that says, you and me, Pac, we bled together, and
right.
That makes us, that's the Blackpool comeback thing.
That's their thing.
What the fuck is going on? Severe lack of insight. You know what they need? They need a story group. Star Wars, Marvel, Disney, they have a story group. They have a filter. It's fucking people. You run the stories through and they go back through the lore and they go, oh, well, you fucked this part up. It clashes with what we've done already. So I don't know how you set that shit up, but we need that because
Tony Khan, we're right here. We'll do it for you.
Literally, fans. That's who you hire for something like that. People who go, oh, wait, hold on. I remember this happened, and come on, man.
We need this to make sense, though.
Dante does bring up Gunn's had one of the greatest entrances in AEW history. Many men. Yeah, they're
that was
boys.
Cool. They practiced that their whole lives.
But great for Pac. He almost got screwed by the Lucha Bros leaving. Not screwed by the Lucha Bros, but screwed by them leaving to WWE potentially. Almost lost his Wembley moment. Crazy that they had Claudio fly over from Mexico to pick up your slack, Pentagon.
Messed up, Penta.
They're ridiculous with this fucking crab walk.
I noticed too, Yuta hasn't been getting as beat up by Claudio anymore.
No, they're friends. They're very good friends. He's earned their respect. Good stuff though. Good for all of them involved. What do we follow this up with? Yes, the Women's World Championship.
And I remember being really surprised that they were putting that in this spot. But when you see how, especially towards the end, there were certain parts of the show that started to really kind of go, all right, let's just go into the next match right now. I could tell that this was probably one of the things where they wanted to make sure they had all the time they needed.
These women had an incredible match. I don't have any reason why I wouldn't give them like 5 stars. Like this honestly, match was a full-on perfect. The story leading into this was one of the better stories AEW had done, not just for the women. What is she fucking doing?
I know. I was like, what is happening here?
I think she's just walking home.
Yeah, we've all done that.
This is post her match at Wembley. She just kind of steps away. Luther's
kind of losing her mind right now. I looked away and I looked back and I saw her climbing over the thing. I'm like, how high up is that?
She's about to jump.
Don't do it, Tony.
Tony, no. But yeah, no. The story leading into this saw Mariah May turning on Toni Storm. Toni Storm getting her revenge on her, and it was just hot. It was hot. It was one of the better stories in AEW. One of the better stories women have ever done. Just to show any of the wrestlers have ever done. Mariah May winning the women's championship, slapping her own mother in the process.
Right. I was not expecting that.
It's the craziest shit. I loved it so much.
I was saying this and I was thinking, like, I guarantee when she was telling her mother about this, her mom was just like, stop. I want you to think back to everything I have ever said to you. Think back to every time I have grounded you. I want you to put every single ounce of strength, fury, anger, sadness, you name it. I want you to hit me as hard as you can, Mariah. And Mama May took that like a champ.
Slap the shit out of her mother. Mariah May, after the show, read a eulogy for Toni Storm and showed up in her funeral gear.
Veil.
Fuck you, Jesus, who says I am a fake Bryan Danielson fan for turning on him. I did not turn on him. I said Hangman should have been in the main event of this damn show, and he should have. But it's okay. This is better. This is better than anything.
And Mama Luraco saying that, because Mama Luraco live watching the media scrum, sending me text updates on it, saying Mariah May read the eulogy and then refused to elaborate further and answer anyone's questions and left.
That's beautiful. That's exactly what I want from Mariah May. I'm very happy to see this. I don't know where we're going with this, but like I said on the other shows, I've been following Mariah May for longer than for longer than most people, because I followed her on Instagram just because she was pretty a long time ago, before she ever got into pro wrestling. She was just a fan, and I was like, she's a very pretty fan. I wish I lived in the UK. We would talk and eat breakfast together.
Constantly those allusions to breakfast. I love Breaking Bad.
Yeah, she goes on, she trains, she becomes a wrestler, she goes to Stardom, she earns my full respect, and then she gets signed. She gets signed by AEW. She says she chose AEW over WWE because AEW presented her with a plan and a story, and that plan was executed to perfection from her debut to this moment here. Like, they told a complete story, and you don't always get that in pro wrestling,
right?
So I'm full on satisfied with everything that happened here. I don't know where they go from here, and I don't know that if Flounders that makes this any less of a success.
Dare I say that this probably isn't even the full story that they even pitched to her. I'm sure there's much more to it.
I hope so. I hope that they had more, because I think back to the other time that they had a full-on story, the full-on story that ended with Hangman pinning Kenny and then going on a world title run, and then, it should have been Bryan that won the title that night, not CM Punk, but brother. But Nick, what were your thoughts on this match? Mariah May is champion. This sign is incredible. Thanks a lot, Tony.
I have to give a huge shout out to
I dropped my phone. Give me a second. I'm gonna disappear into the
darkness. That's fine. I'll cover from here.
I'm kissing Nick on the forehead.
I'm ready. But yeah, like, I really appreciated this match, and in particular the cinema from the Owen Hart tournament. The tournament itself was a lot of just classic moments and a lot of cinema itself, and then the way it leads into these matches, which again, pure cinema. I can't stop saying that word enough, so take a drink every time I do say it. And it got to the point where they even had the RJ City, who himself is a huge movie guy, getting involved. You had all the elements of what's his name? Not Robert Osborne, the new guy, Ben Mankiewicz, getting involved from Turner Classic Movies. Like, it was such an amazing, just pure story that they told from A through Z, not A to B, A through Z, because there's so many twists and turns. I didn't know where it was going to go, and this match in particular was the same way, A through Z. I didn't know when it was going to end. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I don't know, just by the way Toni Storm was acting, and just by this star-making moment Mariah May had, there's still so much more to go, and I can't wait.
She's bugging out afterwards too, but they really gave Toni Storm her flowers here when the match was over. The crowd literally chanting her name, giving her a standing ovation.
You don't always get following those long title runs where you're a dominant champion.
It's her second loss at Wembley. She lost at Wembley last year. She got pinned by Saraya. Right. Max is saying I'm a fake Bryan fan, is like saying he is a fake Matt Taven fan. Listen, this I feel like Toni Storm got her revenge. First of all, she beat Mariah pretty senseless. The only thing is that she lost what she came into it with. So now somebody says she's entering her Joker phase.
It's Joker arc time.
I don't know what they're doing next, but as long as they keep RJ City involved, everything is going to be okay. This is RJ City and Tony Khan brainchild. RJ is an interesting character because he's a wrestling background, but he's so eccentric, and he's cultured, and he knows about things that pro wrestlers don't know about. Like
someone cultured in pro wrestling? That doesn't exist, John.
It shouldn't, but it does. Mac brings up another good point. Mariah May said she would celebrate nude if she won the Women's World Championship. That's what she said.
Just completely takes all skin and bones off, and it's just like a pure energy source.
With no
her soul is right there with the title.
I said I would be nude. Oh, okay. Jesus sent me the fucking clip. Oh gosh, the Mercedes divorce clip.
Oh, that's rough.
The fucking not the clip of her getting divorced,
Right.
but
I question how he got that.
how do we get that? No,
Where were you?
TMZ exclusive. No, it's a fucking reporter that has the nerve to ask Mercedes about a divorce at the press conference. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you out there who aspire to go to a press scrum someday, this is what you don't do.
Don't do it.
A few weeks ago, you opened up about something serious that you were dealing with personally in your life.
Oh God,
And-
what are you gonna ask me?
Well, I wanted to ask
I'm
you.
not going to date you. Okay.
Well, I'm married 9 years, so
She's
thank
Oh,
you.
good.
congratulations.
I appreciate it. Thank you. But I wanted to ask,
Fool.
so you opened up about something serious that you were dealing with personally in your
Mhm.
life. And I wanted to know, what did you learn from that experience? And specifically, what advice would you give to someone that may be going through a separation or divorce?
What the fuck?
Why? Are you gonna tell your wife something? You getting ready for something, brother?
A few weeks ago,
What the fuck did I just watch? That was so embarrassing. I was hurt. I was hurt for him. I was embarrassed for him. This is crazy. Never, ever, ever, ever invite this man to a press conference again.
Bad.
Blacklist this man ASAP.
That was
don't know.
rough.
I don't know who that is. Get rid of him. That's crazy. Mercedes, kudos to her for handling that like that, trying to keep it in character, but ugh, rough.
That was rough, man. Yeah, reporters, don't do that anymore.
That's disgusting. Okay. Jesus Christ. Okay.
Can't keep getting away with it.
Back to the show.
Yeah, you see, it's long-term storytelling because he got paid off by Dr. Britt Baker. She's his dentist, so.
Should have asked her about the damn match. Anyway, fucking what do we follow this up with, Vic?
Following up, we had the last chance match for the World Championship.
That's
The
right.
champion, Chris Jericho. Hi, guys! Alongside the Giant Redwood, Big Bill, and Bad Apple Bounty Hunter Brian Keith taking on Hook.
Die hook. Die hook is what I spelled there by accident.
The Hook. The
Hook. This is what it's all about right here. This was worth it. This is what
Son.
This is
Gas
what made
station.
that match worth it, because otherwise it was fairly skippable. But seeing Taz and Hook have that father son Taz mission moment, I gotta get
Right.
the Taz mission image there. I'm sure somebody has it. There. He
That was so
maybe
cool.
they don't. There we go. It's
And
right
even
there.
then, remember at the start, Hook coming out to the very beginning of the Taz intro. What was the song called?
War Machine. But,
Yes.
yeah, I thought he was gonna do it. Actually, they pissed me off with that. 'Cause
I got it.
thought-
Yeah,
I thought we were gonna come out to War Machine. I was like, oh shit. But no, in fact, we would not. He cut back.
it would have been too
Nice,
cool.
bro. Way too cool. It should have been attached to his theme the whole time. Did they just realize he's Taz's son, or what the fuck is going on? Hi guys.
I love that.
Good shit. He bought out what were those billiards pool balls?
Oh, those were the balls they use in cricket.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought they were apples at first because Jericho, the
No, I thought they
apple
were
thing.
too.
I was like, apples. That's hilarious.
Those were cricket balls. They look just like apples, so I'm just like, that's an interesting choice. And I'm like, back in my brain, I'm like, Apples London, Apples London.
Mac making fun of that reporter.
Oh no!
Oh gosh. But yeah, fuck. I don't really have many thoughts on that match, but the Taz and Hook moment is what it's all about right there.
Absolutely. Because I was trying to think. I don't know if, apart from Team Taz, I don't really think Taz has really gotten super involved in AEW from the physical standpoint like that.
Whoops. I kind of just want them to move Hook away from this FTW title thing. Like, he's had this belt for like 3 years, bro. Throw this shit in the trash and move on. It's great. It's homage to Taz. I don't think it was ever supposed to be on television this long. Like, what the fuck?
It's supposed to be just a small thing. But if they got it, man, like, they should be treating it how they basically do on every pay-per-view. Make it the new hardcore title.
Yeah. I mean, it basically is already, but I feel like Hook is like we're way beyond this already. Like, what the fuck? Like, what? There's been no improvement in this Hook front.
I will never forget one of my all-time most favorite visuals, which was Hook covered in Preston Vance's blood, just rising up from the dead, covered in blood, looking at Preston Vance, and then just popping the red rum on him in what was basically a death match. And yeah, that was iconic. And hardcore Hook would be something very fun to play around with and give more dynamics to his character.
I just want the motherfucker to be something more than he is. He's a fucking low card guy, and it's been years, and he should have grown by now. Let's see what we have from our boy Jesus. It looks like Kyle Fletcher versus Ricochet, and I'm not sure when, but
it's bound to happen.
It is Don Callis.
Laraco talked about Ospreay during the scrum, saying that his life was changed so much following that viral clip of him and Ricochet, which was 8 years ago.
God, I remember seeing that everywhere too.
Right?
People who don't watch pro wrestling putting it to like Dragon Ball music and shit.
Oh yeah, that's a cool time to be a fan.
But essentially, Don Callis is saying that Kyle Fletcher is one of the best, and he's challenging Ricochet for this Wednesday on Dynamite. Ricochet versus Kyle Fletcher. Oh, whoa, that's gonna be some fucking shit.
Really makes sense to me now too, seeing how absolutely shredded Fletch got. So I'm like, okay, now it's gonna be the battle of the abdominal muscles.
We will see. What the fuck? Tony Khan says there's about 27 people that contribute to AEW's creative processes, and he gets pitched hundreds of things, but he has the final say. That makes sense.
Hey, Tony Khan, make it 29, hey?
Story group, come on, get it done. You know you need one. Make it happen. What was next?
All right, following the For the World Championship, we had the three-way tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team titles. Champions, the Jackson 2, our EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, defeating FTR and the Acclaimed.
I didn't like this match.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is not what I want to see. They got more time than the fucking Coffin match. We should have threw this shit. This shit should have got 5 minutes.
Right.
But it is what it is.
12 whole minutes.
We followed that up with the Grizzled Young Vets making their AEW return. I think they haven't been seen since their match on Collision with what was it, FTR, right?
I think so.
Yeah, they're still mad about that. They made their presence known to the Bucks because the Bucks have the title, but they were here for FTR. They whipped FTR's ass. And it looks like we'll be getting that maybe at All Out.
No, it was the Acclaimed.
Was it? Oh, the last match was the Acclaimed? Ew.
Yeah.
Well, well, I can't wait to see this. This is going to be great.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get it in 2 weeks at the pay-per-view.
Grizzly Young Vets, you guys attacked the wrong guys.
The Young Bucks were dressed as, what's that, the Beatles?
Yep.
Is that? Okay, nice. I didn't get the reference. I only got it because of this tweet.
Beatles mode.
I see it now. I didn't know. I don't know anything about Beatles lore. Like I didn't. I know some songs from the Powerpuff Girls special.
Sgt. Pepper's.
Blah 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 blah.
Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club, baby.
Makes the world go round. So is that what this was? Is this a Beatles reference? Or I thought this was Nando's.
I think they went like above and beyond, trying to be like full Beatles, which. Again, I'll always be an elitist who says Queen was always better than the Beatles, but
is that like a thing? Why are they? They're not similar at all. Why are they? Why are they together?
It's a battle between like which one's really the best British band of all time.
Ah, it's racism. I see. I understand. Anyway, what was next on the card?
Yeah, did not care for this match at all. But you know what match I really did care for?
Yeah.
The Casino Gauntlet match for a world title shot.
I love this so much. This was so good. I love the damn Casino ladder match. I love it so much. Hold on. Let me find this fucking meme. It's exactly how I feel about this goddamn match. I love this
They
shit.
said there were 21 guys entered, but how many were there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Well, I guess that's kind of the gimmick for this thing. It's up to 21 guys
Yeah.
if we get there.
Because they had a few cuts. Because remember, Evil Uno said he was going to be in there, and then
He got left out.
He got cut, and then they also cut Dustin, Taven, and Bennett were announced for it at one point.
I loved how stacked this was. Do we have the list of people who participated? I think I have it in front of me.
I have everyone in it. I don't have the order necessarily, but I mean, it was a real who's who in AEW, and I loved, Orange Cassidy coming in there wearing full black denim, by the way.
Full black with the Mr. Bean intro. Very good. But I think I do have the order here. I have we kicked it off with Orange Cassidy versus Okada, which was fucking incredible.
Former allies.
Former chaos buddies. He tricks Orange Cassidy into hugging him, but he did not want to hug. Okada was lying.
Made the face.
That's very sad. That makes me sad.
I love the fact too that all the Okada made it rain throughout the arena, and for the rest of the show, all of that money is just on the rampway.
They had an issue with that with the fucking streamers too. The MJF streamers that got caught in the thing.
It would have been hilarious if it's during Danielson and Swerve and Okada's out there picking up each bill one by one, and MJF's out there wrangling up the streamers.
I'm collecting my money.
I spent money on these. They're mine.
I lost the damn window. I have to find it.
Oh no!
I can't find my window. It's behind my camera. The way I have this computer set up.
Dude, I could not sit down during this match. I was so hyped. I was so excited. Every single thing that was going on in here just kept making me go oh man, I can't wait to see who comes out next. I really wish Hologram got to have a showcase in there. I thought that would have been really neat, especially by the time Ricochet came out there. Nigel came out. That was also something.
This is all that mattered, Jimmy. Damn it! This Nigel McGuinness surprise entrance. He was the third entrant, so he got to face off with Okada, which was just the moment in itself. Nigel Okada, that. Nigel McGuinness. If you don't understand him beyond anything more than a commentator, Nigel was at one point neck and neck with Bryan Danielson, best wrestler in the world. As we know, as time went on, their career paths split apart.
Endeavor and All Might.
Largely due to Nigel's injuries, much like All Might. But All Might just kind of stood number one. Nigel was not able to do that. And this is actually really fucked up. This is a fucked up comparison you made there. Anyway.
Sorry, I've been My Hero Academia mood, baby.
Nigel comes out. I had to catch up. I stopped watching in season 4, but I know everything that goes on because I keep tabs. But I actually know how it ended and everything.
I've been binging it. I'm still in the process of binging it, but man, it's just so crazy to think about this. When AEW first started, I never would have thought that 5 years later, Okada, Nigel McGuinness, face to face in the middle of an AEW ring at Wembley Stadium. That never would have crossed my mind at all.
Nigel McGuinness at Wembley Stadium coming out to fucking in the bushes.
Yeah.
Incredible moment for me as a Ring of Honor fan growing up. I was a childhood Ring of Honor fan, so this was the perfect show for me. The way it closed, the Nigel thing in the middle, the showcase, Nigel facing off with Bryan, with Okada, and then Kyle O'Reilly comes out. We get 2 legends of Ring of Honor, and then Zack Sabre Jr. comes out, so we get 2 European legends. And then Roderick Strong comes out, so it's a reunion. And then Mark Briscoe comes out, so the reunion continues. So it's a whole ass Nigel McGuinness story here until Hangman comes out and we shift to getting back to what AEW was trying to tell with their story. Right. Hangman makes his way out. Jeff Jarrett follows him. They face off, continuing what they've had going on. It looked like Hangman was fighting himself from the future.
That's valid.
Tony says
Outlaw versus Hangman.
Donnie says his only exposure to Nigel was in TNA with a series of matches with Kurt Angle. That's as good a goddamn exposure to Nigel as any.
I was gonna say, Desmond Wolf stuff wasn't terrible by any means.
No, but that was the peak right there. That Kurt Angle, the Kurt Angle matches. If you just watch those, you can just ignore the rest. Don't worry about it. I think there's a Samoa Joe match, and then don't worry about that.
Kurt Angle, anything TNA wise though, you really can't go wrong too much. At least when they still had 6-sided rings and everything there.
Donnie says Casino Gauntlet ruled, was not expecting Christian to win it. Max says you go to Super Hell Neck, Beatles over the Queen.
Queen's GOAT.
You know, I was this is gonna be this. So if you like Queen, this is gonna be like blasphemy for you. I got into Queen through Bryan Singer's movie, Bohemian
Rhapsody. That's one of my favorite movies, so I'm okay with that.
It's I didn't know much about Queen beyond like the songs they use in all of pop culture. We Are the Champion, all that good shit. But I was like, oh, this is really good. And then I listened to all their music like at once. I was like, I'm gonna take it all in.
That is not blasphemous at all, sir.
I binged Queen from season 1
the whole time. Again, that's what we gotta do on the WCW show. We gotta start Gotch Hack and Schmidt and work our way forward.
I forgot to say, Mariah May gave Nigel a kiss during the match.
Finish the story.
My headcanon says powered him so much that he came out of retirement after 14 years or 12 years.
Yeah. Because I was just gonna say, one of the things was Nigel's last match before this was December 17th, 2011.
13 fucking years.
And you want to go on like a TV basis, was TNA July 27th, 2010.
I can't believe that I'm watching this moment. I'm listening to the music. I'm hearing the crowd and the massive pop.
Oh yeah,
massive. This is a European legend. God damn it. Incredible. But yeah, so we follow that up. Jeff Jarrett and Hangman, the future versus the past versions of each other, with the debut of Ricochet. Ricochet comes out in the Casino Gauntlet.
Saves Karen Jarrett.
Saves Karen Jarrett. What were you doing there?
Hangman grabbed her by the throat.
He was going to kill her. That's okay.
One.
I vaguely heard his theme. I don't know what it sounds like because the people were losing their shit.
That was it. It was too loud. I couldn't hear.
I'm crying because it was legitimately the fucking AJ Styles Roman Reigns Royal Rumble moment. Look at how confused Hangman is. He's like, who the fuck is Ricochet? Hangman doesn't know who the fuck Ricochet is.
So what you're saying is Hangman is the tribal chief of AEW.
He is. He always has been. He comes out Ricochet rocking the black and gold all elite. It's a good debut for him, a good moment. Big. He didn't factor into the match story-wise beyond
big surprise.
Beyond being a surprise, beyond getting in there with Hangman and just kind of fighting anybody who's in front of him.
Which he took it to every single person, one by one, and he was so swift, nothing was stopping him. That was really cool. And it was just man, where have you been the last 5 years?
He looked great. It looked like the Ricochet of old. I was excited to see him moving like that. Hangman eventually kills him. Which I thought
as he does.
I thought it was funny as hell because he comes in, he takes Hangman on for a little bit, but then he kind of bounces around every single other wrestler. When he circles back to Hangman, it's like, go to sleep. Fucking buckshot lariat. Christian Cage comes out after
limping to the ring.
Limping, and I'm just crying Christian, you sneaky son of a bitch. I should have known that he was going to win.
I had a feeling that someone who lost a match earlier was coming out. Did not think Christian Cage by any means.
Christian is followed by Luchasaurus, who you thought would
not Killswitch.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And earlier in the night, Luchasaurus actually turned, he got mad at Christian and left. And they didn't focus on it on the camera. You saw it if you were paying attention, but I thought it was a mistake not to
should have called that.
Yeah, just have commentary address it, get a camera to zoom in on it. But yeah. So Donnie says he's really opening up to Hangman. His love for Punk blinded him to how good Hangman is. Listen, for a long time, I didn't see Hangman as more than the dude from the decade. He was a young boy in Ring of Honor, and it was hard for me to see past it. He had a match with Kazuchika Okada in the 2018 G1 Climax that changed my mind. So she completely changed my mind about him. And he followed that with a match with Jeff Cobb in the Manhattan Center. I think it was his last Ring of Honor match. Fucking does the balcony off the Hammerstein moonsault. And I was like, I like this Hangman guy. I like this Hangman guy.
I just remember I was like, hey, that's the thing Super Crazy does. Okay.
Yes. Hammerstein Ballroom is a home for me. Like that's where my heart lives. So yeah. But yeah, Christian Cage does win with the help of Luchasaurus, back to being Killswitch. This the Luchasaurus Christian Killswitch thing, it's weird to me because it was originally so connected to Jack Perry.
Right.
And the only reason he joined Christian was because of something to do with Marco Stunt. But then Marco Stunt came back to AEW TV for a one-off, and Luchasaurus, they did a segment where he sees him backstage and he just nods at him and grunts and he just walks away. And I'm like, what the fuck? Completely dropped the plot point. But
plus this has been a story that has gone on for way too long. I honestly thought this was the time to actually do something with the Killswitchosaurus and Christian. I also was thinking that because Christian was taking so long, I was like, how long does it take for a broken leg to heal? Because I was thinking Adam Copeland was going to run out.
Yeah, I thought that him being involved in the world title picture at all is a setup for Adam Copeland to return.
Yeah,
I still think that, but I don't know what we're doing with this. Donnie Patty also brings up they've done the fake Luchasaurus turn way too many times now. Absolutely. But story wise, I don't know why he's even mad anymore beyond the fact that Christian took the TNT title from him once. But it's been so long that I feel like you don't even have the right to complain anymore.
I think at this point too, you've so willingly been the lapdog for Christian. It's like, why do we care? You know, because you just keep going back to him. You've Stockholm syndromed yourself with Christian and the Patriarchy.
I thought it was funny that they beat the shit out of him in the beginning, or not. No, I'm actually confusing this with a Battle Royal. I thought it was funny that he immediately got set up versus Bryan with his new Family Man deal because, of course, Christian has found a new father, and not only that, a new wrestler with a dead father to complain to attack. So like, Bryan, you talk about your dad. Oh no.
Oh, he's just too powerful. Christian will never stop.
Hangman not winning. I was like, all right, this has got to be the setup for him showing up later on. And again, kudos, because when he does show up in the main event, it doesn't factor into the finish at all. All he does is take Nana with him. So now, even though Swerve had kind of turned, like he didn't turn heel, but he wrestled the match as a heel following like the first 5 minutes. He fucking gives Bryan a DVD on the ring bell. Just trying to kill him in front of his family.
I almost wish that they would have done like a little bit more of unhinged Hangman throughout the night. Like I wish they would have like shown him like reacting
backstage.
to like reacting to the promo during the pre-show where they re-signed Swerve to another multi-year deal. So like really after all the stuff he's done, he's getting a better deal, a better contract. I was a founder.
I like the random backstage segments, like where something else is going on and Hangman is like dying, just crashing shit. Look at what is going. He just walks through the shot. No one. I don't give a fuck. I'm so lost. Things like that. I think they help sell the story. But clearly this show was low on time.
Yeah, poor Evil Uno getting cut from the Casino Gauntlet.
I don't think he was ever meant for this match, Nick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he said he was in it.
I know.
But I think that was just meant for the headshot, and that was it.
Yeah, but then he was in the pre-show, and then they were like, you're a pre-show jobber, and this match is stacked."
He doesn't even get to be in the job, like the match itself. He was like an outside person.
It's fucked up. But yeah, no.
But again, it works with what the match is. Not all 21 guys get to enter.
That was great. I had a great fun. For some people, the finish fell flat, and I'm like, well, I think you guys just wanted somebody else to win. I didn't really. I mean, if anybody, I wanted Hangman to win just because I want him to win everything. But I was fine. I was like, damn, they got me pissed off with that fucking ending. Like, damn, he pissed me off. Okay, good. It's what the job well done.
Oh man, Zack Sabre Jr. had quite the showing in this.
Jack Sabre Jr. did coming off the G1, goddammit.
Right? Like, good for him.
No, but what do we follow that up with?
Following the Casino Gauntlet, we went into the American Championship, and by the time we went from the Casino Gauntlet right into the American Championship, this is where it really started to feel like, okay, we might need some time to simmer, but like, nah, they're just rushing through things. So, champion Maxwell Jacob Freedom takes on Will Ezio Auditore's Spirit Incarnate Ospreay.
That was cool. That was very cool. They gave
Love
him a
that.
whole Assassin's Creed entrance complete with voice actor.
With Ezio's voice, that was so cool. Hey, I am an Assassin's Creed 2 fan through and through, so for me, that was really awesome.
Oops.
It's in Italian. This was really good too.
Trying to keep it muted. We'll talk about this match while they go through the Ospreay entrance next to our face. The MJF came out.
Cool.
MJF comes out dressed like a patriotic douchebag. Ospreay, obviously, we're looking at this very cool Assassin's Creed entrance. I enjoyed this match a lot more than their hour match. Just the pacing, the energy, the physicality. I had a lot more fun with this match than I did with the hour Dynamite match. Yeah, they delivered the match I wish we would have seen on Dynamite. I mean, fucking, but it is what it is. Ospreay wins his belt back from the obviously asshole MJF, but we got the best fucking moment. Daniel Garcia returned. God,
and the mask.
Damn it! It is not just that he returned; it's that means that he's staying, because it's time. It's if he wasn't gonna stay, we wouldn't have put him back in this fucking.
Exactly.
We wouldn't have put him in this position.
If he wouldn't have stayed, we would have seen Death Triangle in the ladder match.
I thought this was Adam Cole. Honestly, I thought it was gonna be Adam Cole, but
I thought that at first, but I'm like, he's too tall.
I didn't get it. I didn't grab it. So the moment he revealed it was Daniel Garcia, I didn't know it was Daniel Garcia. I thought it was Adam Cole. I was very excited though. Daniel Garcia, listen, he stuck around. I'm down. He is not a sports entertainer. He is a professional wrestler. The storyline has come to pass. That's but then he was asked about the Daniel Garcia's contract, Tony Khan being that. And he says the status is something that he doesn't want to comment on, but it's a good sign that Garcia was on the show tonight. Tony is funny when he answers sometimes because he talks like everything's out of his hands. Like, oh, I don't know, man, but it's a good sign that he showed up. Like,
He's just talking how he has pictured this moment from childhood to now.
That reminds me of the Ricky Starks question. They asked him, like, is Ricky Starks on TV? And Tony's like, I hope to have Ricky Starks back on TV someday. like, bro, you can literally just make it happen.
I'd love to make it happen, but it's just one of those things out of my hand.
Like, no, like they're literally your hands. It's all in your hands.
It's your hands. It's your pocketbook.
He says it's time to let the Adam Cole MJF feud go. I agree. I just think it would be weird to not do like it's gonna have to. Adam Cole's gonna have to come back and immediately get involved in something heavy so that nobody thinks about the MJF thing.
Which remember
at all.
MJF did do the Panama Sunrise as well to Ospreay.
That's what makes me think that they're going to go back to it eventually. But we'll see. We will see. He was out there in his Uncle Sam outfit. They called him I'm sorry. I have something scumbag. Star Spangled Scumbag.
Star Spangled Scumbag.
Star Spangled Scumbag.
Yeah, I was on his Maxwell Jacob Freedom. You know, like I really dug with this match, especially like through and through as like point A to point B pacing wise, but like man, I had such trouble getting into it at first just because that gauntlet match was so crazy that I didn't have any time to really let everything like set and like simmer down for me.
I think the entrances did it for me. It was long enough. There was enough time, and then I kind of got really excited at the Ospreay thing, and I was laughing at MJF being an asshole. That when the bell rang, I was already in another phase, ready to do another thing. And I had moved on from the casino. That's probably why I was so open to it. Just right off the bat, I was like, okay, I like this.
I was so overhyped from the last match, and then plus I'm an Assassin's Creed guy, so I thought that was really cool for Ospreay's entrance. So then, like, especially when I got to the halfway point, then everything that I watched leading up to that from the MJF Ospreay match really was just like, okay, this makes sense to me.
There's this tweet making fun of the fact that AEW cameramen are always in MJF's ass.
The women and MJF.
It's the women and MJF. But can we talk about this? Jesus Christ! This is my favorite finisher in all of pro wrestling ever.
And you know, MJF backstage was like, "You hit me as hard as you can with that."
Drop me, because you know there's ways to take this, and yeah. I don't know. I feel like the most. Even the most experienced professional wrestlers can have issues doing this or performing this this way anyway, safely. Because if you see the way Bryan took it, Bryan just kind of took it onto his back. But
yeah,
essentially you're supposed to die on it if you can, you know. Fuck.
Especially because remember too, MJF is what, like 230 something pounds of muscle.
Yeah, he's way too large. But if you can fall on the shoulder, Kenny Omega did it perfectly,
right?
And Kawada didn't break his neck on it, so that's the best I can say about that. Taue didn't break his neck on it. Anybody who didn't break their neck on it, you can say did okay, because that's a scary move. But yeah, Daniel Garcia comes out. Will Ospreay finally brings back the Tiger Driver 91. Somebody called 97. Fix that, you dumb bitch. The fuck is wrong?
Another lore.
You know, there's actually a whole lot of lore for this move. You want to know about the lore? I'll give you a quick version. In 1991, Mitsuharu Misawa slipped on a powerbomb attempt with Akira Taue. This is the legend. We don't know if this is what actually happened, but the legend is that he slipped and drove it into a pile driver. And then 3 years later, the story of the match against probably the greatest match of all time to a lot of people, June 3rd, 1994, Toshiaki Kawada, Mitsuharu Misawa had fought Kawada at least 3 times up to this point. He tried to hit him with every possible fucking thing that he could, but he couldn't. He rolls out the ring. He looks like, God damn, I'm going to have to do this thing I haven't done, and the only time I did it was a mistake. And then the Tiger Driver 91 is created for the first time on purpose. And it's excellent. So, fuck! MJF is dead! And this was another good spot. The MJF reversing the Sasuke special into that.
And the thing too with like guys like Kawada or like MJF taking this is it's always terrifying when it's like bigger guys, you know,
large backs,
large meat men.
Nah, man, they killed each other out there. Excellent wrestling. Good stuff.
Whew, that shot.
That's scary. It's very scary.
Yeah, there were a couple of times too where they were landing in very scary ways on the apron, both guys.
That's why I said, like, this was a lot more because they didn't have the 60-minute time limit to worry about and pace themselves and make sure that they have their gas tank full and everything like that.
Yeah,
they killed each other tonight.
They absolutely did. Oof.
But we have to talk about the next match.
Do we?
This makes me sad because I don't have like contempt for it. I'm just disappointed in the whole situation.
I mean, performance-wise, it wasn't the greatest. It wasn't bad by any means, but especially too, this was another thing where I didn't have time to simmer, and Ospreay and MJF just happened. Plus the Gauntlet, I was so hyped for, and then I'm thinking like, wow, how crazy is everything going to happen for the casket match? How crazy is title versus career? I felt bad that they had this slot in particular, and I felt like this might have been a good spot to put the Jackson 2's tag titles match.
Darby and Jack Perry should have gotten this spot because they have weapons and shit. They can pop the crowd with absurdity.
See, that should have followed the Gauntlet match, the casket match.
I thought it was fine because I think it's a much hard. I think it was harder to follow. I think it was much easier for Will Ospreay and MJF to follow the Gauntlet match than it would have been for most other people. But then for Britt and Mercedes to have to follow both the fucking Gauntlet and MJF,
That was rough.
That's rough. So I think the weapons and everything, because it's like a cheap way to get people excited again. Like you kind of cheating, but you're also going to do this anyway. So why not just stick it in there? And then they ended up fucked for time. So I think if you'd have had them in this spot, they might have been able to have their full match. But and then Mercedes and Britt could have lost time, and then they would complain about it afterwards. But we would know as people from the original timeline that this was the better way to do it.
we do get the timeline though of Britt having to walk past Ospreay and MJF and Gorilla, like I said in the group chat.
Listen, man, I don't know. I love Mercedes Mone so much. I do.
Darby in the corner.
He's just watching me, making sure I don't say anything perverted, because I'm not. I mean this in a wrestler way. She is she's my favorite horsewoman, possibly. I think Bailey sometimes goes up number one. They go back and forth. But there's something about this AEW run that isn't working. It's not the promos. The promos don't work because they don't work. I don't give a fuck. It's AEW.
She's never been known for her promos, period, before the AEW.
She was not a promo girl, right? The misconception is that because she's a WWE girl, she should be a promo girl, but it doesn't work that way. But she is a wrestling girl, and her wrestling is not wrestling.
Wrestle harder.
No, it's a combination of her attempt to try and incorporate these new things into her moves. This bad lucha stuff that she's doing. The fucking bad finisher that she's doing. And she had done she used to do arm drags and Eddie Guerrero inspired shit. But she's got this little bullshit jump up into the turnbuckle, double arm, lucha arm drag shit that she does that looks weak and whack as shit. The fucking finisher sucks. And I'm saying this as somebody that loves Mercedes. I'm not one of these fucking haters. I'm not,
You're not a Jamie hater?
Not Jamie hater. I'm not one of these people that hates Mercedes just because she left WWE and she's in AEW or they think she's arrogant. I think that shit is rooted in subconscious racism. I swear to fucking God. Don't associate me with those people. But I think there's something that needs to be adjusted about Mercedes AEW run right now. I don't like it. I think she's much better off as a heel than she was as a face, but there's still things that need to be tweaked and fixed, and I don't know what it is. And I couldn't fix that for you because I'm not a booker and I don't fucking work here. But
is it just me, or is there some weird disconnect when it comes down to some of the women that come in with a lot of hype for what they've done outside of AEW? Because Mercedes is by no means the first woman to come in and everyone's like, okay, she's gonna be this big star, it's gonna be the greatest thing ever, and then it's this isn't hitting how we thought it would. Because I think that same thing was with Taya Valkyrie and Deonna Purrazzo. There's something that needs to be tweaked with a few of the women to really bring that hype to the forefront, because I've seen all three of them have fantastic matches elsewhere, but that's I don't know, AEW, it doesn't feel like we've really had much of that. Deonna probably more so in the sense of her feud with Thunder Rosa was pretty interesting. I never cared for Taya in AEW, but Mercedes she's got something that they just need to figure out what it is. I can't put my finger on what it is, but there's something missing.
We need to have her. We need to have her just wrestling. Just fuck this shit. Just go out there and start wrestling better women. A lot of people are turning on Britt Baker tonight because of this match. I'm I don't know which part was exactly Britt Baker's fault. I feel like they both sucked here. I don't know what would make this Britt Baker's fault over anybody else's. Was there reports of sandbagging? Or I didn't see any with my. I guess I don't have a trained. I guess I do have a trained eye, don't I? I didn't.
Well, John, what happened was Britt Baker was upset because Ospreay and MJF got 25 minutes and she was only getting 17.
I see. Did they get 17 minutes? This shit was fucking.
At least according to Wikipedia, it was 17 minutes 25 seconds.
Shit was rough. It was very rough. I'm so sorry, man. They never clenched. They never meshed. There was a lot of awkward movement.
Yeah.
A lot of silence from the crowd who couldn't figure out what to do. And this was supposed to be a big deal. This is Britt Baker, the original AEW success, versus Mercedes Mone, Sasha Banks, one of the horsewomen. This is the girls that Britt looked up to.
Yeah.
What the fuck, Britt? You suck? Or what's up?
You know what I was thinking? I think the biggest issue with those like 3 women I brought up earlier, with Taya, with Deonna, and with Mercedes, is it's a chemistry thing. I feel like the chemistry just wasn't here with Britt and Mercedes, and both women can have great matches. We've seen both women have tremendous matches, but it's like this just did not hit compared to the 2 matches before, the 2 matches after it.
Think about Britt Baker's best matches and who they were with. Hikaru Shida, Thunder Rosa. Those are very, very, very capable professional wrestlers. I sometimes wonder if her character work carried her to a great place, and then she was paired with just the perfect wrestlers to present her as who she was then. And then if that's the case, then we need to keep pairing her with the right wrestlers, and we need to start considering who people are good chemistry, who people would have good chemistry with before just tossing them out there. People talk a lot of shit about WWE not running Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair at WrestleMania, but they watched them and they decided that they didn't have the chemistry. So like, you know what? There's a universe out there where we had to watch the match and we ended up hating Ric Flair and Hulk Hogan for the rest of eternity.
I mean, like this part in particular, where it was like the body slam counter, that was pretty cool. So it's like, why didn't we have more things along those lines? And it's no secret that Mercedes and Britt Baker are friends outside of the ring. And I think maybe that was something where they relied too heavily on their friendship, maybe to be like, I trust you, we're friends, we can do this.
But usually friends are the ones that beat the shit out of each other. Like, I trust my friend, so I punch his teeth down his throat. Like,
that's probably what it was here, because like both women have a series of injuries. Both women probably at their standard and their caliber, they probably didn't want to do that with one another. Like, I don't know, I'm not picturing them as being like a Benoit Guerrero. I picture them as just being like, hey, I want to be nice to you. You're my friend, you're cool, and hey, what do you want to do after this type thing?
I'm not gonna turn on Britt. I mean, I like Britt. Britt was never like the wrestling girl to me. She was always good in the ring with certain people. Particularly this shit right here, though. This shit right here, man. Everybody says it, but look at this. This middling ass transitional move is what we're doing to finish matches. Like, They can never get the fucking setup. They never can do the stupid shit they trying to get from their fucking hands to hook. It never, ever happens smoothly. Ever. Why is she still using this? Damn it! It's frustrating. Tessa. Oh, Tessa fucking Blanchard. Fuck Tessa Blanchard, Jesus. I'm sorry. I can't find her. But yeah, rough. Sad times. I lost Nick for
I'm back.
a second, but the boy is back.
Yeah, that's fun internet stuff for you. But one of the things I did, apart from just that like body slam counter, the avalanche slam, was the Panama Sunrise Britt Baker did.
Maybe she shouldn't use that move anymore. I don't know.
I was just like, oh, which notice too, MJF used that before.
He's like, I'm using it for bro. That's one real reason. Like the actual reason is that MJF just used it in the other match, and it's the same reference. It's the same thing. But
I like the idea that Britt Baker was going to be the only one doing that, and MJF knew, and so he's like, rose before hose. I got him.
Rose before hose. No, listen. This was full on the worst match on the card. And I'm disappointed because I'm number one defender for Mercedes. I'll stand up because I think a lot of the hate is unwarranted. But this was rough. And Britt fucking sucks. Britt fucking sucks here. She sucks in this position. I don't know what the fuck.
I felt like they both hesitated at different parts of the match. It felt like they didn't want to hurt each other. And it just felt like two women who were just complacent in their spots in the company.
Greg brought up a good point in that possibly Britt was uncomfortable being led because she's used to leading in the match, but And that makes sense because I think that could have happened with the Saraya match, but like it's already Saraya, it's Mercedes, it's all the people that Britt wants to have these matches with, these WWE matches. I used to grow up a WWE Diva stan, you know, all that shit. It's not hitting. Like, get this shit out of here. Like, put Britt in there with motherfucking Hikaru Shida. Get Mercedes in there with motherfucking Mina, with Azumi, with fucking. Just bring the Stardom girls over for Mercedes, because this diva shit they trying to pull off on AEW TV is not fucking hitting. I'm sick of it. It's making it hard to defend Mercedes.
It's just not it.
Anyway, we followed that up with the TNT Championship match, which was the clear victim of time constraints. It's horrible. I hated that this happened this way, but for what they did in the match, sick enough. Darby's a weirdo.
Darby coming out with outwards pointing thumbtacks glued to his face.
Insane! Fucking Hellraiser.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I forgot about this. That was funny. That was funny as hell because nobody thought this through. They shot streamers up for MJF's entrance, and they were never able to get them off, like all of them. And when they were trying, they would just fall on screen, and it looked like people were throwing streamers, but it's like, no, that's staff desperately trying to snip away. It's fucking hilarious.
Again, I think it'd be hilarious if Okada's out there trying to sweep up and pick up his money on the ramp, and MJF's out there climbing up the ladders trying to reach down and grab the streamers.
But yeah, Darby comes out, like we said, he's got thumbtacks on his face, all this good shit. Him and Jungle Boy do a couple of crazy spots. Jungle Boy throws Darby Allin off a fucking platform down like 10 feet. Darby, of course, dives into the fucking coffin at one point. Jungle Boy.
No, remember too, he threw Darby when Darby's arms were bound and he couldn't protect himself in any way with it.
Shit, that's right. He tied his ass up and then threw him and then put him in the body bag.
Yeah, hog-tied into a body bag.
Dragged him down, put him in the thing, and just killed him. Hit him with a knee and closed it. And then finished the match. I was like, what? What the fuck?
That's how Darby's casket streak ends.
This is how Darby loses his first coffin match. Fine. Fuck you too. Sting comes out. Seek and destroy. The sickest goddamn visual I ever seen. It's because it was, and it might have been a mistake. Honest, I swear. They didn't light the stage, right? So anytime the lightning went off on the screen, it would light him naturally. And it was the coolest shit.
It did look really cool that way.
It's literally the Dark Knight Returns cover. Like, fuck you. Fuck, that was awesome. But that was the best part of this match, which I was really looking forward to. And that's disappointing. But that...
We got Sting as the Avenger.
So that's AEW All In, my friends. And Jesus says we might need to send Britt to Stardom, and that he needs Jack Perry to wrestle more. If not, drop it to somebody who like Daniel Garcia. And I think Daniel Garcia needs to do something a little bigger than the TNT title right now. I don't know. I feel like we re-signed him. We got him in the main event. Not the main event, but with the main event wrestler like MJF. We need to get after that. We need to start looking at bigger things. We need to get Daniel Garcia beating some bigger people. But we'll see. Anyway, disappointed in that TNT championship match. I hope that they do a make good on a Dynamite and they give it like 20 minutes as a main event.
Yeah.
And it doesn't, some kind of stipulation.
Especially because Darby has a world title match in his back pocket.
That's why I'm okay with Darby losing, but he killed Darby. He killed Darby like this, and then that makes Jungle Boy look like a contender when he eventually, there's a logic there, but I feel like he just killed him way too hard, way too fast. Ethan Page versus Darby Allin Coffin match actually is the best one. That's my favorite one, and I was there.
A real good one.
I was there for that. I was there for that live. But it was just the best. It was just really great. They were both going nuts. That's the best Ethan Page match I've ever seen.
Yeah. After that, I'm like, I don't care anymore for Ethan Page. Right. But he's a good dude, but that match in particular was awesome.
And a great person. Everybody says he's a good dude. So
dude.
But that's right. Darby versus Andrade. They did have one. They did have one. I gotta go back and check that shit out. I forgot it.
Powerhouse Andrade in that one.
But Nick,
Yes, sir.
it's the end of the show, so there's a couple of things we gotta talk about. Like, who did you think was your jobber of the night? Brought to you by comicbookclick.com.
Yeah.
This big boy. Hold on. Go ahead, Nick. Who do you think is your jobber of the night?
All right. I have a question. I have a little qualifying question here. Are we counting
Sure.
pre-show?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, if that's the case, I have to go with the losing team from the 16-man tag match. I got Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, Agogo, Daivari, Private Party, Dark Order. But in particular, even beyond just them, you also got to throw Evil Uno in there. He said he was going to be in the Casino Gauntlet. I feel like I think like when they originally were putting the card together, I guarantee they wanted to have a full 21 people in this. But then they're like, I don't think time-wise will make that work. So they cut everyone in there, and I think they're like, sorry, Evil Uno, we got to cut you. But they already factored Dark Order in some way into the 16-man tag, which was originally a 14-man, which was previously announced as a 12-man. So they just didn't know what they were doing with so many of these guys. And hey, I'm all for people going in there and getting a paycheck. I just think it was hilarious how Evil Uno was being like, yeah, I want to be on the main card after not being around for how long?
I wanted so that they never hit 21 for like many years, and then one day they finally will hit 21, and it would be like a big ass deal. Like, holy shit, they actually got everybody in the gauntlet,
The full gauntlet.
that would be cool. I like shit like that. But understandable, great choice. I am probably going to have to go with I'll go with two jobbers of the night, and I'm gonna have to give it to the ladies in the TBS championship match.
Yeah.
That was painful, particularly for me, because I'm always defending this match. But god damn, this was rough. This is one where I'm like, you got it. Anything you want to say, you can say it, because sucked all the way through. Sucked for Britt, sucked for Mercedes. I hate seeing this on my TV. I want it dead. That's my jobber of the night.
That is a very fair one.
So we can follow that up with the better one.
Hey,
mega star of the night. I don't gotta talk, man. I don't have shit to say. Look at this thing. Look at this fucking belt. Bryan by God Danielson, megastar of life, the year, all 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, the greatest fucking professional wrestler to ever walk on this earth. Since the fucking Greeks were naked fucking each other in the Olympics and calling it wrestling, there has not been a better wrestler than Bryan Danielson. Megastar of the night. All nights. Megastar of every night.
every single night, even past his retirement.
Forever.
Oh man. You know, now that everyone has said Bryan Danielson, I'm going to go in the complete opposite direction. I'm going to go with Nige. I wasn't expecting Nigel McGuinness to come out, and when he did, if I couldn't sit down beforehand because I was so hyped, that kept me going, and that was probably the biggest thing, because every single time too that he jumped back to get involved with the different wrestlers that would come out and enter the match, I was just like, oh my gosh, it's still Nigel McGuinness. I can't believe this. It's been like 14 years. Like, that's crazy. So yeah, Nigel McGuinness being in there really made me hype, and I was honestly rooting for him, and I think the crowd was too, because oh god, just imagine Nigel and Danielson one more time.
Dave at the press conference said he wants Brody to wrestle her dad at Tokyo. That's great. That's incredible. There was a moment where Bryan was in the ring and he was asking his son to like his son was like trying to do the running knee. Oh man. I gotta watch. I have to watch the last few minutes back. Oh, I'm ready. We're about to finish. My wife is wrapping me up like producers on the fucking set. They're like, you got 3 seconds. But no,
we have gone nearly 2 hours.
We have. She's probably right. But I have to rewatch the last, like, everything from the final moments of the match to the end of the show, because I was in a blur. I was making purchases I shouldn't even be making. I was like, I gotta get the Washington. It's fucking ridiculous. But yeah, man, that's our megastar of the night. That's our megastar of the night segment, and that was our AEW All In post-show rewind. That was fun. Damn, it's always fun to have a good old one-on-one conversation with my boy Nick. We just talk about fucking wrestling. That's all this ever is.
DSROGs.
You think Darcy Radio is some operation, like some big operation or something? It's me gaslighting people into having to talk about each and every single pro wrestling show that ever takes place. We have to. I'm just fucking forcing people
We're
to
kind of held
speak
hostage.
about every show for 2 hours. Is he done? We're done.
John, please, can we go? Please.
Well, like I said, there are others. There's a whole team of us, and if you have fun tonight, you might have fun all week long. Because Darcy Radio is always on. We're always on. After Monday Night Raw, we're on. After Tuesday Night NXT, of course. After Wednesday Night Dynamite, Thursday Night Impact, Friday Night SmackDown, NXT Level Up. We do them all.
Oh yeah.
On Sundays, you can also catch our boys Danny, Malik, and Van, and they're the 3NT talking wrestling live on Darcy Radio. But of course, if all of that isn't enough, then you got the flagship, the boys, me, Nick, and Greg, who couldn't join us tonight. He is the ever-loving boyfriend. He missed the main event of All In to go eat dinner with his girlfriend's mom.
Oh, that is
love. That is love.
Same love that motivated Bryan freaking Danielson
to win the world championship.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Goddamn. Yeah, look at Greg in the comments.
Yes, we got Greg. Let's go.
Let's go. Right at the end of the show, too. So we love you guys. Thank you all for joining us. And thank you for joining us at the end, Greg.
Thank you.
I'll leave him on the screen. He can say goodbye with us. You all have a good night. Or good afternoon.
Yeah, this is an earlier show. Yeah, hey, good day, good night, whenever you're